and welcome to our third installment of the True Fitness Nutrition webinar. In this section, we're going to talk about tips to make life easier in a calorie deficit. Okay, we know that to lose weight, we have to be burning more calories than we consume, and we know that that's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows, but we can try and make it as pleasant and enjoyable as possible. So this section is all going to be around tips on how we can make better decisions. It's going to make it more enjoyable and eventually mean you can stay on the diet for longer, get better results, all those kinds of things. So first thing we're going to start off, guys, is something that drives me absolutely bananas. Just drink more bloody water. All right. I cannot tell you the amount of conversations I have had with clients over the years, over getting them to drink enough water. It is the easiest win you will ever get for improving anything to do with your health. Drink 2 liters of water a day, maybe more. You've all seen my big, giant, stupid water bottle, and you all know I drink at least 2 liters of tea a day on top of that. Um, it will have massive impacts on all sorts of sides of your health. But even if you are in a calorie deficit, uh, keeping yourself full with water helps you feel fuller, which stops you being as hungry. It stops you being a lot of the time when you feel hungry, you're actually thirsty. So it also helps preventing you from snacking. Okay. Um, as a little bit of advice, in 12 years of being a personal trainer, I'm still yet to find anyone who drinks sufficient water who doesn't carry around a giant silly bottle of water with them. So it might be a very wise investment to buy a big 2 litre bottle of water, fill it up in the mornings, carry it round. You'll be shocked how fast you will work through that if you have it on you all day. Okay. First thing you want to do is start drinking enough water. Okay. Easiest win we can ever get. From there, this is the bit that most people struggle with when we get to doing these accelerator programs, is eating adequate protein. So the recommendations we go for is between 1.5 and 2 grams per kilo of body weight in terms of protein intake. Now, how we can break this down is if you were to weigh 100 kilos, that means you should be eating a minimum of 150 to 200 grams of protein per day. For the vast majority of people, it's very hard work for them to get up to just the initial 150. This is something we'll work on. There's a real skill to it. It's a very much a learning process, and it will take you maybe a week or two to learn how to do that. It's not a problem. It's one of the key takeaways from the nutrition program is learning these skills. Okay. If you struggle, pop a message in the groups, pop a message to me. You will soon find big benefits from it. Okay. The benefit to this is if you're losing body fat and you're in a calorie deficit, but you're getting adequate protein, that is going to help you maintain more muscle mass. It keeps you feeling fuller for longer because it's much slower to digest. And as we know, the TEF, the thermic effect of protein, is much higher than fats and carbs. So if your diet has a higher percentage of calories coming into it from protein, it's going to burn a lot more energy just through digestion. So here's a little bit of a resource and a bit of an example that can always be worth screenshotting and stealing. Um, I already stole it off the Fitness Chef, as you can probably see. Very good account to follow, guys. So a really good long-term target that you should be we're going to look at after the accelerator, but also one that you can do in the accelerator is to aim to get around 30 grams of protein with every meal that you eat. Okay. If you do that, you will normally end up around the 1.5 times body weight mark, anyways. So it's a really good way of doing it without having to track and measure in the long term. Okay. So here's a little bit of a breakdown of all the different calories of different foods that are in there, and it's a really good example. Also, we see lots of people saying, "Oh, well, I eat nuts and they've got a lot of protein in them." If you were to try and get your protein from nuts, it's going to be hugely calorie dense. Okay, even if you look at tofu, it's pretty much. exactly twice the amount of calories, getting 30 grams of protein from tofu as it is from chicken. Okay, so we really want to make the predominantly most of the protein we're getting in our diet to be coming from the ones up across the top row and the top kind of left hand side where they're a little bit lower in calories. One of the big benefits of protein shakes is that it's very cheap, it's very convenient, very high protein, very low calorie. Okay, and this is just a little bit of a show of what is actually in protein shakes. For many people, it's worth having a double scoop. So that would be 180 calories for 40 grams of protein. But you could do 20, you could do 30. But if you were to have a protein shake, it's a really easy win. Have a protein shake with a bagel for breakfast. You're already going to be a double scoop of protein and a bagel. You're probably talking about 400, 450 calories, 50 grams of protein. You'll smash your target out the window every day if you started like that. The next thing we want to look at is high volume foods, and this is also a skill that you will learn over the next couple of weeks. But this is an absolute game changer, both for when you're in a specific fat loss phase, like an accelerator, but also for generally over time, learning how to pick your meals a little bit better. So a real good example of this would be um, if you were going to go out for some food, rather than having chips, having a side salad. So you could still have the burger if you wanted, but it's actually the chips that are going to add lots of calories, but not much of the filling side of it. So what you would do, or what you could do, is have a smaller portion of chips, have a side salad, and then the salad will add more size to the food, and it will make the meal feel bigger, but it will be less energy dense, which means it will be lower calorie. Okay, we're going to move on to some examples of how this works. Okay, so strawberries are one of the best foods to eat for high volume. Okay, so on the left we can see there's not a lot there. A teaspoon of olive oil, teaspoon of coconut oil, teaspoon of peanut butter, and three Ferrero Rochers. Even if you just take one of them, 20 milliliters of olive oil is the equivalent of an entire punnet of strawberries. That's that's a really good way of highlighting making better choices. Obviously, you're not going to eat the olive oil, but it's a really good example of how you can add more things like more strawberries into your diet, which will keep you feeling full but keep your calorie intake much lower. Little tip, guys, if you like something a bit sweet, chocolate, whatever, especially after dinner, dessert, having a tub of strawberries and some of that low calorie chocolate sauce to just put over the top of a couple of strawberries, have that as a snack is a real winner when it comes to dessert and sweet things. So we've got a few examples here of high volume foods. Um, Mainly fruit and vegetables, but down the bottom we've also got a lot of the more protein stuff, turkey breast, mince, all that kind of stuff. And you want to try and get as much of these things in your diet as you can, really, or certainly to use these to kind of pack out your meals. A real typical example is broccoli. No one loves broccoli. I'm sorry if you do, you're crazy. But it's a good thing to have a bit of it on your plate because it will really fill you up and it'll bring the overall amount of calories in that meal down by replacing something that is high calorie with broccoli, which is very low calorie. Okay, and here's a little sliding scale where you can see some things that are very small portions but large um, amount of calories. So this is an average portion of 300 calories. So that would be two punnets of strawberries or four Ferrero Rochers. Okay. Obviously, we know the strawberries is going to be a much better choice. And one of the absolute kings of high volume food, as you'll see in the next one, so 300 calories would be roughly 1,000 spinach leaves. Okay, so getting a load of spinach onto your plate as a little side to all of your food to really fill that plate up in place of something that is slightly higher calorie, for example, of chips, that kind of stuff, is a real easy winner. Okay, and then we're going to move on in the next video onto some portion control ideas and examples of how that works as well. Okay, but for this video, it's all about protein, it's all about volume, and if you can learn the tricks of getting higher protein intake into your diet in a convenient way and learning some tricks on how to add more volume to your food, it will set you up for a lifetime. Okay, guys? I hope you enjoyed this short video. If you have any questions, as always, pop me a message, and if not, I will see you in the next video.